YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy John, coming back at you again from the lovely, harmonious forest. It is a beautiful day. I'm having a great time, man. And woman. You know, I was thinking, quite contrary actually to the video's topic, but I was thinking about a certain topic. Because I was a bit, I don't know what to make a video about today. Because I'm in the forest. And as I was walking, as I was coming towards the forest, my mind just went silent and I was very aware of everything in my peripheral vision. Everything, like, your mind filters out so much information that it's taking in from all around its surroundings, right? And I was just aware of everything I was seeing. So as you're walking with that vision, everything feels like a dream. It feels very lucid and it feels very soft and smooth, and you're just sort of like going through the world as if you're just moving with it. You're not moving against it with resistance and this drudge. You're just flowing. It's a beautiful feeling. And that got me listening to a bit of Osho. And he's got an audiobook on Amazon called the Dhammapada. It's where he talks about the Dhammapada, which is the Buddha's teachings. And again, that got me thinking about the mind and how in today's society we're always in our heads, we're always thinking. And especially for, intuitive types like me, let's blend this with the MBTI theory, right? The INFJ is a intuitive type, so it spends a lot of its time in its head. ENTP as well. I've got a friend who's an ENTP, spends a lot of time in the mind. INTJs, INTPs, all these intuitive introverts and even extroverts spend a lot of time in the head. And it can be good, but it can also be very bad, because when you rely on the mind, you box yourself in to a concept or a reality which you're trying to perceive, but you miss so much. You miss so much from the real world when you live your life like that. So overthinking becomes a disease, it becomes a parasite, something that you have to deal with on an everyday basis. And especially when you get stressed, when you get stressed, you overthink even more. Your mind just can't stop. You start thinking in your sleep, you think when you take a shower, you think when you're eating food. It just becomes a painful existence. How do you stop that? Well, you can't. Okay, there is no miracle word that I can tell you to do that's going to help you quiet the mind or stop the mind. What you can do is you can become aware of it, aware of the mind's tendency to create problems where they don't exist. Because that's what the mind does. The mind exists to create problems. It exists. It's evolutionary. It's an evolutionary product of our own biology to create problems in order to survive. So the mind is a coward, and it constantly keeps its host in a state of fear and distrust and worry and paranoia. Most people go through this on a daily basis, and when it's really exacerbated, it turns into mental illness. But we all have these tendencies because it's called being human. It's called having this powerful thing on our heads called the mind. Especially when we live most of our lives in social convention. You can very easily confuse what your mind is saying for who you are. And when that happens, you're in for a real big surprise, because your world is now inhabited with anxiety, it's inhabited with fear, it's inhabited with anger and jealousy and envy, and your life becomes a torment, and you don't want to be here anymore. A lot of times people get depressed because they confuse social reality with who they are. I'm here to say to the people who are seeking a way out, the bodhisattvas, which is basically a spiritual seeker, a Buddha who is uninitiated, a Buddha who is asleep. I'm here to say to you guys, because you found this video because you're looking for this truth, that you're already on the path. And there's many stages to this path, there's many stages on this journey that you get to. I want to take a seat because I just feel like it. Oh, you're already on this path, and you're already doing what every single bodhisattva or spiritual seeker has done in the past, which is to seek the ultimate truth, right? And what you're looking for, that quietude, solitude, that peace of mind, is in itself an ego pretending to be a spiritual seeker. Because you are that. You are peace. You already have that. You already are it. You are the peace, actually. But you've confused your thoughts for who you are. So, I would say, don't look for quietude of the mind. Don't try and quiet the mind or silence the mind or still the mind, all of these terms. Watch everything that arises. Watch everything that arises as if you're watching an experiment. You're observing an experiment. And see how the mind tricks you into thinking that it's you. Because it will do that. It will play all sorts of tricks to confuse you and make you believe that you are the mind. And every thought that you have is the mind. You have to remember that. Every thought you have is the mind. So when the mind says, I'm looking for, or when you say you're looking for spiritual peace, you're looking to be enlightened, you're looking to become the Buddha, that's the thought, that's the mind. But it's easy to confuse it as you, isn't it? So easy, because it's saying, well, you know, enlightenment, right? I guess this must be an inner voice which is pointing me to God, or the Buddha, or whoever it is, Jesus, whoever, whatever messianic person you've chosen as a role model. But that voice that says I want enlightenment is just the ego pretending to be you. So if you want your overthinking to stop, you have to disidentify from the mind, which is essentially watch the mind in its natural habitual state doing what it does. Creating fear, creating anxiety, creating worry, creating distrust, overthinking scenarios and situations, creating turmoil. Watch it. Watch it. Don't try and get rid of it. Just understand that it's not you. Understand that it's the mind in its habitual state. It's not you. So when it gets really bad, when you feel that urge, that overthinking urge, or that paranoia, that worry, just watch it and realize that it's not you. But it tricks you, because the thoughts are there, but then the emotion is created, the emotional field, the vibrational frequency of fear or anxiety is very powerful and contagious. If you're just with an anxious person or a paranoid person, you can inherit a bit of that energy, and it's very easy to confuse that for you. But again, if you remain conscious and aware of everything that's going on, like I said at the beginning of the video, which is essentially to be here in the present moment and to be lucidly aware of everything, your thoughts included, your emotions included, every little bit of wave that's coming across the wind, or the dust, or the mud, or whatever is going on, rain, rays of sunlight, shine, whatever, Be aware of everything, and then you won't get caught up in the mind's tendency to confuse itself for you. And of course, when you need to use the mind is very useful. I'm not dissing the mind. Hey, I love the mind. The mind is very powerful, and it's very good. I give my mind a lot of credit. But it's to be used as a tool, as a function, not to be confused with you. If you start to confuse your mind as being you, that's when you get overthinking people. That's when you get paranoid. That's when you get fearful. Because you've confused a tool that is there to problem solve for being your innate being, which is very, very false. These words that I'm saying will make sense to people who are on their journey. They will not make sense to people who are not on their journey. I know this for a fact because I've spoken to people who are asleep, who haven't even started their journey, who may not even start their journey, and they just can't understand a word that I'm saying. They're looking at me as if I'm a fucking crazy freak. They're like, dude, you've taken way too much LSD, you need to calm down. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, it is what it is. It is what it is. This is the moment, and I've met this guy, and this is just, it is it. But that's what I said in the last video about stop spreading your spiritual journey. Stop telling people about your spiritual journey, because it's pointless. Other people will see you. They will see your awakened state. People who are awakened, people who are present, they tend to have a bit of an aura. They tend to do everything with a bit of poise and grace. Every movement is very poised. Every look is very lucid. And they're very, very sharp people. These people are, you can spot them from a mile away. And people who are intrigued by that kind of behavior, they will naturally come up to you and ask you, hey man, what are you doing? What's going on? What's your secret? And for these people, you can tell them, you can sit down and tell them what you do and what journey you're on, and how you've come to be where you are, because they've asked you and they're genuinely interested. But for most people who aren't interested, let them be, because eventually they will either figure it out or they won't. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, that's going to be it from me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.